Okay, let's get this started. So, what this stream is about, it's not about attacking Tiko or anything like that. I'm going to be the first to admit, I personally could not run a business that like Tiko has. Um, and of course, people are like, well, no, it failed. Of course not. But let's think about what goes. I mean, you got to keep in mind what goes into creating a product, being willing to put it out there, and selling it and doing all of it. The fact that anyone received just one Tico is incredible. I mean, this thing could have been dead in the water straight from the beginning. Now, I was hoping to have Tico here and do some questions and answers and really get into why it failed and where it failed. Did it fail because it really should have been a real product? Did it fail because they didn't know what they were doing? Because it's their first business? At what point did this all go south? But they're not here. Um, who knows? So, um, I don't want to speculate where they went wrong. I mean, I could come up with ideas very easily on where they went wrong. Um, but again, the fact that someone created this thing, put themselves out there, raised the funds, got people to trust them, to give them money. And yes, I see, people, it's, $3 million. And I think they had some more investments as well outside of Kickstarter. Um, you know, it takes a lot to even do that and be willing to just be willing to take people's money and try to do something you don't even know is possible with it. And some people say, well, that's not really a good business model, but that's just the way it was in that situation. So and yeah, did they have some unpredictable timelines? Yeah, right from the beginning. I didn't think that they would be able to get this thing out the first year that it was funded. I thought it was going to be the second year. Didn't turn out to be that way. But it's here. I have one. It exists. Is it the product that they promised? No. Were they open about the disappointment? No. They did hide a lot, which I think is a lot of their fault. It is their fault. They should have done that. I think they should have been more forward, because in different situations where you're doing this R&D, you're doing this product creation before you get the money, I can understand keeping optimism high, because you don't want investors to know that you have no idea what you're doing. But once they had the money and once they got into the actual development and the R&D and getting the parts and getting all that stuff going, they should have been up front from the very start that things were going bad, that they couldn't get parts to work. Because then maybe they could have found someone that knew more, and they would have been able to get the product to work better than it does now. But instead, they held to their pride, and it's hard. I get it. No one wants to admit that they don't know what they're doing, especially when they're trying to create a product. But it's something that you got to get over in business. You have to get over your pride and admit defeat and ask for help. And especially when you've already taken investor money. Because, I mean, that's technically what Kickstarter is. Now, it's an investment without getting a piece of the company. It's investment getting a product in the end as a reward for funding something. But it's an investment, and you should treat it that way. And honestly, after they started developing the beta unit with the different hardware than the prototype, and again, I get it, you can't produce the final product at the price that you want with the prototype components. That's not going to work. That's not how business is done. But when they started to see the first signs of struggle with going from prototype to production, that's when they should have come forward. Instead, they were very optimistic from start to finish. Oh, it's going wonderful. Oh, it's going great. Here's the Tiko wall printing. Here's everything, that we're doing to make sure that it's good. Oh, we're going to open up our own factory, which no one cares. But none of that was necessarily true to the fullest extent. Were they having success in some areas? Sure. It worked. It prints. It does things. But was it this revolutionary set it, forget it, and print? No. Could it be? I think so, with a little bit more honesty. Now, with that being said, Ultimakers, which are way more expensive printers, are not set it and forget it. A lot of 3D printing is not set it and forget it. And I think they should have just dropped the set it and forget it mentality. Because that's a pipe dream that a lot of 3D printing is trying to get to. At least at the time. Now, the mono price mini select that I have right there, it's basically set it and forget it. I send it a print through Cura and it goes. It's done. And that's what Tiko was supposed to be. It's not. And they screwed the pooch on that. And I think they knew before the beta units went out that they had a problem. But they sent out the 100 beta units to keep people happy, to keep people hype. Then go, oh no, there's a problem with the beta units. We need to go back to R&D and fix them. When they knew, when they sent them out, that there were problems. And then they knew when I got the preview of the actual units that now 3,000 or so people have gotten, they knew that those had issues. And I guess kind of let's get into that. So I guess let's talk through the process of how I got this unit early, where I actually am at on the Kickstarter. So my actual backer number is in the 11,000s. So I was in way late to the game. During their Kickstarter campaign and their kind of a lull in the R&D and the information that we had, I was looking for YouTube videos that were talking about Tiko. There weren't any. So I decided to make some update videos about what was going on. Because, when the Kickstarter first started, Netlink Daily started talking about it. A couple of 3D printing people started talking about it. This is something that's here. Check it out. So, and that's how I heard about it. But no one was actually talking about Tiko and their progress. So I started making those videos. When they went and they noticed, they commented, they liked them or whatever, they saw them as something that was good because I wasn't ripping their heads off with how bad they were doing. I could have been a lot meaner. Maybe I should have. Maybe they would have been better in the long run. Who knows? But I don't think they were going to listen to anybody anyway. And so just kind of talking about what they were saying and putting it in video format was the best at that time. So they basically saw those videos. And then they approached me when they were doing the actual first shipment. So they were doing the 200 beta or 100 beta units. People that got the beta units, they were shipping out the second version of Tiko, basically the updated one that didn't have problems. And I got a YouTube email saying, "Hey, this is Tiko. We want to send you one of these units to review." I got one. I know Jatman got one, and a few other people also got one. And when I first got it, and you can see these in the videos, it did decently. It printed. It got some good prints out of it. I had some fun for a whole weekend with this printer. It was great. And then it fell apart. And not literally falling apart. It jammed. The filament was breaking in it for some reason. Still to this day, I don't know why. It didn't matter what filament I put in there. It would become brittle and break. Monoprice Mini doesn't do that. I don't know. Um, the extruder motor didn't work consistently. It wouldn't extrude properly. And this is all hardware stuff. We're not even talking about the software shit show that is. I was hoping that they, within the first month, or within the first week really, of them developing the software for this thing, they should have realized that it wasn't going to work out. And they really should have focused on taking an open source product like Cura or anything else and putting their engineers into modifying it to work with Tiko and coming up with their own version or own INI file or whatever they need to do to get Tiko to work with Cura and wirelessly or however they needed to do it. I mean, Cura's open source. They could have done it. That's what they should have focused on. And honestly, that's what they should do now. They should use if it's a firmware issue on the board, they should find some open source Delta firmware. I'm sure it's out there. Modify it to make it work with Tiko and call it a day. And then modify Cura to make it work with Tiko and call it a day. And just support that version of Cura and that's the Tiko version of Cura or whatever, or some other open source slicing software. It's time to give up on the proprietary wit. It's a good idea. I like it. The design is great, but it's not working out. And for the time being, we want good prints first, and then you can go back to wit if you really want to. And I'm sure you could modify Cura to work with the interface that you have now. I mean, change the interface of Cura to look like the wit or whatever. I don't know. That's not my position to program, but you should have Cura as your backbone or some open source thing so people can go in there and help you, or, you're not reinventing the wheel, because you're trying to reinvent the wheel here with the wit, and it doesn't need to be done. There's something that already works and works well. So use that, please. Okay. But honestly, it's the hardware. And so I have it sitting here. And so this is the extruder motor that came with it. It does not work. It'll run. But when I took this cap off and if I had a screwdriver sitting here, I would, take it off and show you the gearing. But when I took this off, there was black dust built up underneath this, right on the gearing. So obviously there was some sort of strain that it was grinding gears and forcing some sort of substance out of this. And all this thing does now is clicks and will not push filament through. It will not do anything. And I don't know what type of motor this is. I could probably look it up. I could probably find how much it costs and all that. But again, I know you're trying to cut costs, but there are motors in the industry for certain things that work well, and are decently cheap. And this motor isn't one of them, obviously, because I've seen a lot of people where this is the problem for most people right here. So I don't understand why. And there's no way they didn't see this in testing. I mean, I ran this thing for 3 days and I have it fail, and I know other people have had it fail. And with only, 100 at the time, or 1,000 at, a little bit further in the month when I first got this, because this broke right away. This was starting to go bad. You can't tell me that out of the 100 Tiko wall, one of these didn't go bad and several of these didn't go bad. Come on, they could have been more honest about this. And then when I go to order one, okay, from the parts store, I get an email, because at the time the parts store wasn't open and you had to email support, which support, God bless them. I mean, I can't imagine the stuff that they had to deal with there. But they say, oh, it's going to take a while because we're redesigning this or fixing it or whatever. But then they don't tell anybody else. They don't release to everybody that this, an important piece, the extruder motor, is getting redone. So that is definitely an issue there. That's not honest. That's not upfront. And they said that they were. But when this is being redone or retooled, or heck if I know, redesigned, and you're getting a new extruder motor on there, you know, that's, you got to be upfront and honest with that. I still haven't gotten the new one, by the way. That's why. So I still have this old one, and it's not even going anywhere. And then also, due to a jam, which I did get unjammed eventually, I did get a new hot end, but I haven't even calibrated it because at the time of getting the new hot end, they didn't even have the calibration software live on Tiko. So that you would go to Tiko Recovery, it wasn't even live. It didn't even exist. And so you had to do some backdoor thing, and I didn't even do it because, well, it had already broke. So the extruder motor was broken by then, so why even bother doing anything with the calibration of the heating element? There's just no point. Why should I? So there's that, which, okay, I understand having to calibrate that, but man, shouldn't you have that live before you ship? I mean, I guess you don't expect people to need new extruders right away, but that all those systems should be in place. The recovery system, recalibration system, anything like that should have been in place before it shipped. Regardless of WIT or if they went with Cura, they should have any sort of support software done and polished. But anyway, so I got the new extruder. So already within a week or so, less than a week maybe, I needed 2 new parts. And again, you tell me that you R&D this stuff. You tell me that you've gotten all this stuff tested. You test it in the lab. You put the test print on there, which I know the test print that's on the bed was printed by Tiko. That's fine. The Tiko that I got. But maybe some more tests than that were needed. Maybe a full day test of rigorous prints, or just the same print over and over and over again to test to make sure that there weren't any faults that were going to happen within a couple days. Because again, the extruder motor that's in the Monoprice Mini that's back here, I run that thing non-stop all the time. The only time I don't run it is if I run out of ideas to print, and I've printed a whole bunch of stuff, and I'll show you that stuff later. But yeah, I just don't get it. None of this stuff is, I mean, other than this board, is really custom to Tiko. These motors are something that you can buy, and again, I don't know where, because I just don't have the time. I don't care where, but they're not anything special, and the board is the only thing that's somewhat special. It's round, you know. I mean, this is a custom PCB, but the stuff on the PCB isn't anything special, or else the cost would be higher. And of course, this plastic piece, but then these motors, okay, these motors have a lot of play. A lot of people are having to modify this part because it's not playing well with the rungs on here, and you can't tell me that you didn't see that. And then the lack of rigidity of the arms on here, you didn't see any issues with that from the beginning. Did you not look at other cheap Delta printers before you went into production with this? And I get it. At the time of the creation of Tiko, the idea, the prototype, there wasn't anything on the market at that time. The Monoprice Mini Select wasn't there. It was a different field. But when it came time to ship the beta units, there were things out there. There was stuff out there. And you really should have looked at the competition to fix these issues and really get a fire in your ass to get moving and get booking and go, what's important, hardware or software? And I feel like Tiko focused so much on the software while ignoring the fact that they had fatal flaws in their hardware. Which, again, I mean, these stepper motors might be okay. I don't know. But they can't be more than a couple dollars tops. And I mean, and then you buy them in bulk and they're like less than $1 more than likely. And, you know, do they really, really test these motors? Really test them for flaws in prints, hard, difficult prints. How accurate was the movement in this? How accurate was the movements in the arms? How, you know, how accurate was the hot end? And again, did they really need to redesign the hot end? Did they really need to redesign the extruder? Again, there are several different options that were already out there that they could have taken and then modified to either make cheaper or better and find the flaws in those. Instead, they want to start from the very beginning, which, you know, is very admirable. But when they tried, they should have just said, oh, this doesn't work. Let's try something else. And, you know, they say that they don't need a fan, and okay, it prints without a fan. And they say they don't need a heated bed because it's enclosed, which, okay, it prints without a heated bed. Sure. But maybe they should have designed one that had those things and seen where the price point was and said, okay, this is where we need to be with a heated bed, with a fan on the hot end, and actually putting the extruder here instead of up here with this Bowden tube, and kind of get rid of the Bowden tube if they could have. You know, Monoprice Mini has Bowden tube. Several printers have Bowden tube. It's okay. It's something that works, I guess. But I feel like there were so many things that, since they took so long to get the product out and the game had changed so much since then, that they didn't go back before they pushed the product out and go, what's changed? It's like they kept themselves in a box and didn't look outside their world to see 3D printing was changing around them way faster than they thought. And again, they got swamped. I mean, Monoprice Mini Select is what they sought out to be, basically. I mean, I haven't changed anything on that. I leveled the bed and updated the firmware, and that's it. Prints PLA like a dream. Doesn't do ABS very well at all, but that's okay. I bought it for PLA, and again, I put things on an SD card, or I hook it up to USB. USB I recommend, it's great. And I tell it to print, and it prints. Every flaw that I've had with it was my bad. I didn't do supports when I should have done supports, or I didn't do the correct raft, or the surface wasn't, I didn't have tape on the surface well enough. So there's already a product out there that does what they want to do, and yet now they can't do what they sought to do. And Monoprice this summer is going to come out with a cheaper, I believe it's cheaper, I think they're pushing for $150, Delta printer that will work with Cura, I'm guessing. So again, what happened, Tiko? At what point did this thing fall apart? Did it fall apart at the prototype? Did it follow? Yeah, $149.99, $150, Monoprice, Delta printer. I don't know if it's the same size. I don't really care. If it's a set it and forget it Delta 3D printer, like Tiko was supposed to be, they're done. Tiko's done. They can't recover from this. Their unibody, proprietary stuff doesn't matter at that point. And you can't really go up against Monoprice when they've already had several good 3D printers. So I really wish they were here. I really wish they would have contacted me. I really want to talk to them. I want to ask the hard-hitting questions. I want to get answers from them. And I think they need to be upfront with us on everything. They need to come to the table with everything. And I think there's a small group in the Tiko community. I'm willing to help them, but I know very little. Tiko got me in the door, and then I bought the Monoprice Mini, and I saw what you can do when that door is open, and now I'm buying, I got a DIY kit coming. It's an ANET A8, which isn't the greatest DIY kit. I just bought it because it's a cheap DIY kit, and I wanted to build a 3D printer with a DIY kit. I know you need to modify that thing a whole bunch, but that's for me. And that's what it's sold as. But the Tiko was sold as, oh, you buy this 3D printer, it's ready to go. It's done. It's simple UI. It's simple this, simple that. But it's none of those things. Because it fell apart at some point, and they didn't tell anybody it fell apart. And I think it fell apart right after the prototype. I think it fell apart. They made the prototype, went to go make it cheaper, realized, oh no, it can't be done in this environment. Waited a while, hoping that they could create it down the line in 2016, because again, the 3D market had changed in 2016 drastically. And really, they may be able to do it this year. I mean, if Monoprice can do it for $150, I've seen their design. It's not an all-enclosed thing, but I think if they would have waited, if Tiko would have started this year and gone all open source and really just, here's the design we have, we're using these parts, you could have built it yourself, we're just building it for you and selling it to you, that would have been a better product. Combining things that already existed in the market and creating something from that. But instead they wanted to reinvent everything, when really it didn't need reinventing in that way. And again, thanks for trying. I'm glad you tried, but you weren't honest along the way. And if you would have been honest, more open, more honest, showed us the numbers, showed us what was happening, show us what you were doing, I think we as the community would have been able to go, whoa. Hey, just a heads up. This is something else that's happening in the 3D printing space. Maybe you should look into this. But they were so closed to other outside sources' ideas. And it was, no, it has to be this way. It can't be any other way. And that's it. That was it. And you can't run a business that way. You have to be aware of the competition. You have to be aware of changes in the marketplace. You have to be aware of the environment, because from 2015 to now, 3D printing is completely different. It's now gotten to the point where it is at the consumer level, where at the time of the Kickstarter, it wasn't. They were right about that. But within a short period of time of that Kickstarter ending, it became a lower price thing, and really well. So I really wish they would have opened this up. They would have come to this stream, answered our questions, and, been straight. Eventually they're going to. If they deem themselves a failure on Kickstarter, they have to tell us where the money went and how they spent it. And a fear of mine is that they spent a lot of money over Christmas on a vacation for the whole team as sort of a recreation, let's get energized. And that seems to be a modern business practice. Like, oh, we worked really hard for like a couple months, so we need a break, and so we need to go on vacation now. But that's when you lose. When you work hard and then think, oh, I'm done working hard, I get a break now. Because during that time gone, everything can change. You have to be full on all the time. And it's just amazing to me that people that are smarter than me, I will admit that they're more than likely smarter than me, have a better education than me. I mean, they came up with the idea and the prototype of Tiko. I would have never thought about doing that. Can't see simple business practices. It seems like they didn't even go and look at 3D printing businesses like MakerBot or whatever and gone, what about their business practices worked and what about them didn't? And or looked at other Kickstarter 3D printing projects that had problems and go, okay, what about this project went wrong? How do we not do that? Even doing that, I think they would have been a lot better off. But I feel like they didn't do any of that. And that's where they, really, really screwed themselves on everything. So I think what I want to do now, I don't know if anybody has Discord or maybe there's some other thing out there that we can use. But I want to hear from you guys. I don't want to hear from the comments. I want to invite people in here one at a time, and we can talk about, I want to hear about your experiences. I want to hear what you think of Tiko, where they went wrong. Since Tiko won't come in here and have a discussion, I want to have a discussion with you guys. I want to see what you think about everything. So go ahead in the comment section if you think Discord will work or something else. I don't know. I mean, Discord is what I just have on my computer. I would use Skype, but I don't like Skype. So let's see. I prefer Discord just because only voice, no video. I'll stay video, but no voice, just voice. If you want to come in, let me know, and we can talk. We'll talk together, talk about your experience with Tiko, what you think should be done from here, where you think they went wrong, stuff like that. So I'll go ahead and let's see here. This is my Discord. So add that, and then I'll see, and then I'll get you in, and we can have a little chat about Tiko. I think it'll be fun. I want to open this up. I want to hear from everybody. I want to hear what you guys have to say. I've said my piece. There's not much more to that, but I want to hear different perspectives, different experiences. So let's see here. I'm going to look through the comments while I wait for, see if anybody wants to so I posted, okay. I guess here we go. Okay, I'll do this. There's the Discord link to a server that I just made. Can you hear me? Okay, so just if you're coming into the Tico's 3D server, just get into the general voice channel if you'd like, and we can talk about your experience with Tiko. And um, like I said, I want to open the floor. I want this to be an open discussion of people's experiences that have received the Tiko. I think there's 3,000 out there. I want to know. I want to hear from you. So if someone says, let's see, their Tiko works great. Didn't have half the problems as some people. Seemed to have layer shifts and such, but then messed up and blew the extruder using the spool adapter I designed. They were batch one, and yeah, no, that extruder is so easily broken. I mean, like I said, I broke mine very easily. Um, didn't really have to try too much. It just just using it broke it. So I feel you there. Um, no surprise on that one at all. Someone else said it's a mixed bag. Use plumber's tape and grease, and that seemed to fix a lot of the problems, but the quality is still just so. Yeah, I agree. I do enjoy that people are modding it. I think that's I mean that's what 3D printing is all about. Is taking what someone else has made and then finding mods for it. I mean the ANET A8 is basically just here's this thing, but there's this other work that needs to be done. And I think that's fun. For me, that's fun. But that's not what Tiko was sold on. Tiko was supposed to be set and ready to go. So, kind of missed the boat on that one. Someone's asking if Tiko got back to me. No, they have my contact number. They have my cell phone number. They have my email. They have, I mean, they got everything. They could easily contact me, um, and let me talk to them and get answers from them. But so far they have been radio silent. And I bet after they see this video, they will be even more radio silent. Because I was kind of their only YouTube champion, and they kind of got me mad a bit. So, yeah, that kind of went downhill on that one. Sorry to them, but I have no real loyalties. Yeah, you gave me a product early, but I did pay for it. um, so yeah, that's bad on them. Um, so yeah, go ahead if you guys want. You can go ahead and join the voice channel. I know you're all using the chat channel, but please come into the voice channel if you can. If you got a mic, if there's an issue with that, please let me know. I mean, I just set up the server, so I don't know. I don't think there needs to be any configuration on that or anything. Let's see. Yeah, instant invite, connect, speak. Okay. All right. Yeah. So now it should instant invite people. I have no idea. I've never set up my own server on Discord, so kind of a new thing. But yeah, again, this is open discussion time. Want people to talk. I've said my piece on the matter. I wish. I wish it was better. I had high hopes. Um, I liked the design. I liked the price. Price was, yeah, right there at that, right where I wanted it. So yeah. But hey, that's just the way things go sometimes. So yeah. I wish it didn't have to be this way. I really don't. Yeah, I think now you're in.
Hey, buddy, how are you?
I'm doing good.
Is it a little bit too loud? I'm running my mono price at the moment.
Okay, no, no, that's fine. I mean we can kind of hear it, but I mean it's fine. I do that all the time.
Okay, hold on. Let me just let's go over to the other room.
Okay, no problem.
All right. So basically, are there any specific questions, or can I just speak freely?
Yeah, no, I'll let you speak freely, and then if I have some questions about some things, I'll ask them.
All right. So basically, I believe I was backer. It was in the 200 series. Fully supported these guys because they were my friends back at school. It was a great product. I can't really complain too much at the time because I knew very little about 3D printing. Supported them, spoke out until you ran into the problems, right, that they had. Right around pre-order time, it was a disaster. Simply because, just give me 1 second. So right around pre-order time, they obviously provided their product to the public, which is a big no-no in the engineering practice world. In Ontario, we follow the PEO, the Professional Engineers of Ontario, and it's against our creed to basically sell faulty products, and I could not accept this. So obviously, spoke out, raised awareness, and I was provided my refund. That's all right. With that refund, I bought my Monoprice Mini, and I have been running that nonstop. It shipped within, I think, 4 business days, 3 business days.
Yeah, I think I got mine in one day because it shipped out of Ohio. I'm in Indiana, so they just had to chuck it across.
It's crazy, man. It's absolutely crazy, right? And I received it, a little bit of tinkering, like you said. No, you have to adjust the bed.
I
I
haven't
put a
even
glass.
leveled. Have you leveled the bed once you leveled it once?
I've actually upgraded to glass, and
Okay.
since I upgraded to glass, I have not leveled the bed for a month.
Yeah, I haven't touched mine since I bought it. I leveled it once and haven't touched it.
Yeah, like literally, I've been running mine. I would say 16 hours a day.
Yeah.
When I sleep, when I'm at work, it's literally for a price point, like you said, spot on. Tiko wanted to be that, and they just got beat out of the market.
Oh yeah. And
So
if you look at
base,
this stream, I'm holding up some stuff that I printed on the Monoprice, some tracer guns.
yeah,
Obviously you gotta. I mean, some stuff is too big, so you gotta cut it down. But I mean, it can do it.
yeah. So I did visit like their head office. It's in Oshawa, Ontario. Don't get me wrong. It's a young team, and I understand that. I'm coming back, with a background in nuclear engineering, specifically project engineering and project management. So it's a little bit of my forte, right?
Right.
If I can manage multi-million-dollar projects, Something like this is it's child's play, I would say. Basically, it was a team of young guys operating out of let's say a pretty large building. The Tiko wall was not operational. They had a few units, I believe, that were running, but basically, they had interns that really didn't know what they were doing too much. Not judging based on their hiring process, but you could show that there's lack of experience and professionalism in it. Didn't ask too many questions, but because no matter what question you asked, you always got lots of responses without any information, which Tico is apparently very well known for. So basically, what would I say about it? The comment from the Reddit post, the CEO is delusional. I would highly support that. Not trying to be offensive, just trying to be honest and open and transparent.
Right.
And again, they wanted to reinvent everything from scratch, and I'm sorry, that's not how the world works. That's not how you make business. And you know what? It was just I don't know, just lack of experience to it. So based on that, I know it was just. I'm kind of glad that they refunded me, but there are a lot of questions that they need to answer, right? One is, the selective of choosing who to refund and who to not refund. Because again, that is just not right. You're not supposed to do that. You're not supposed to pick, I want to refund these many people because they're speaking against my product, but not refunding others. That's one major issue I would say that's currently going on. Vacations, yeah, it's as I've seen on their Facebook profiles, they've gone on vacations every so often. But that's fine. So there's no issue about that. But it seemed a little bit excessive. Um, I agree with you about the software that should have been dumped from the start. The CEO, well, not the CEO, but the software lead, great guy, knows his stuff here and there. Silicon Valley was apparently too good for him, so so he joined Tico. He is influential to some extent, so that could be why the software kept going. My personal opinion is the reason why he's gone this route is I was friends with his ex girlfriend,
Mhm.
and his ex decided to leave him for somebody a little bit more sophisticated.
Okay.
That may have played a role in the decision making in his life. So he did text me fairly often to basically shut up, don't respond. Um, Again, I understand why they're doing that because you're speaking against their faulty product. But at the end of the day, engineers have to provide quality products and they have to be paid fair. Yep, and that's my rant for today.
Okay. Yeah. So basically, from that, so you personally knew some of the people that were on the team.
Correct.
Okay. At what point, I guess, in a year timeline, did they start working on the actual vision or prototype?
They had, I would say, early 2015.
Okay.
Before that, even 2014. Again, they had working models, right? You saw working models, right? So, us backers, what some people say, we invest. I understand that some people say Kickstarter is not a store, but when you promote something, you say you're going to deliver it. That kind of sounds like a store, especially when you have apparently a working model. Two
Right.
years later, over 2 years, it's no longer a working model. I just don't understand.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, like I can understand coming to a point to where you make the prototype and then you go to make it cheaper and then realize you can't.
Yep,
But it seems like they saw that you can't and then went, "Oh well, let's still do it."
correctly, exactly right. And real world experience would have driven them otherwise. The CEO's biggest, I guess, mistake in this project was not getting professional experience well in advance. That's why I put this fault at the conceptual planning phase. Right from the get go, they had major issues.
Right.
Listening to backers, and again, you don't need a professional experience because it was repeated many times by the backers. But these student graduates, that's I guess all I can really call them, and the CEO wannabe, just thought they knew better than God knows how many people combined, right? So
Right, right. Yeah, and I think it's an issue with like people think once they reach a title, no matter how they get to that title, that they're now automatically smarter and better. Well,
right.
I own my own LLC for computer repair, but I just filled out paperwork to do it as a fallback just in case I lose my actual job. That doesn't,
Mhm.
technically I'm the CEO or the owner of a company, but that doesn't mean jack shit.
Exactly.
But
Right.
nobody, but I it might just be a thing where some people can't separate that. They think a title means something, and then once they get that title, they're like, oh no, now I have to deliver because I've built up this hype, and I don't want to look like a fool.
Exactly. Well, you know what? Pride does drive that, right? But at the end of the day, right, when Tico fails, right, not if, right, when Tico fails,
Right.
there's a lot of questions that have to be answered. So making a list early would not be a bad idea. One, has every one of their employees been paid for every hour? Because that's a big no-no.
Right.
Um, and I feel the answer to that is no. I
Oh,
would
I
like
think
full.
I think it's no as well. I mean, if you're hiring a bunch of interns, I mean, what do you do with interns? Most interns are unpaid and or cheap labor, and you're working them way harder than you would a normal employee.
There are labor laws you need to abide by at the end of the day, right? Depending
Right.
on the contracts that they signed, but payment and money and where that goes is, I would say, the biggest issue here. I would love to know full disclosure of the salaries of each one of their top members
Yeah.
for sure. And to be honest, any information that we get, I just feel that we will be lied to because we have been lied to almost since day one. So take everything with a grain of salt.
Yeah. I mean, I think it would be not out of the question that the top three, we could easily see a situation where they leave with 200, maybe $300,000 each, and then the rest was all, you know, left to everybody else. I feel that may be a viable situation,
Mm.
um, but who knows?
Well,
Um,
in today's society, it's not too difficult to actually track them down. So you know what?
right.
I can't believe. I would believe that there would be some individuals that would go the extra mile to make sure that justice is served. So
Yeah, yeah. I mean, honestly, when you're creating a new company like this, and this has always been my practicing standard of thought, and I didn't go to business school. I none of that stuff. This is just from experience of looking at things. When you're starting a new business, you as the CEO, the founding group, um, should really make no money until the product is deemed a success.
absolutely. And you know what? That also ties back into the pre-orders. How the hell can they put that out to the public, right? And say, you know what? We can sell you this product and it's exactly as we advertise when they haven't even sent out the first less than 20% of what people have received,
Right.
right? And it's been repeated by so many people, right? And if Tico really wants to, do the right thing, right, a refund to all individuals who want the refund should be provided within the next, I would say, 10 working days. It's just the honorable thing to do. Some people might still want their Ticos, and that's fine, right? But give people the option and make sure that the money is received. That's at the end of the day, you don't play with people's money, right? That's the biggest. Um, a lot of people take pride to that, so just don't fuck with people's money, and that's exactly what they've done with thousands of people, right?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it I mean, I was towards the end, kind of after the beta units, I kind of came to the realization that I may not get my money out of the project, and I was an Ouya backer. Okay, so this is
Wow,
this is how well of an experience I've had with Kickstarter now.
wow.
So I came to the realization that I may not get anything out of it. I might have gotten a unit and then it not work, and that's really
Mhm.
what ended up happening. Um, but to not give everybody a unit I think is a fault on them. I mean, there's no way they should have had all of that stuff lined up, um, sitting in a warehouse.
Uh, um, there's a good question here. How many pre-orders they have received? That would be also one to answer. You know, the pre-orders initially, as well as the pre-orders that people have received refunds for. So that's definitely one statistic I would love to know.
Yeah, yeah. I don't think very. I wouldn't think very many. Based on the Facebook page, not very many. Um,
That's kind of
there've been
sad.
a handful that came forward and said I pre-ordered it, and basically everybody was like, "Please no, just go get a mono price mini." But
I don't know. It's we're basically put into a tough position, right? It's what I don't want to suggest this to backers, but apparently it's already too late, and I was, I guess, one of the lucky ones to actually receive the refunds forcefully. But you know what? A lot of us, we spoke the truth, right? And we spoke, with good engineering principles. And you know what? We just care about each other, right? We don't care about the corporations at the end of the day, right? You put the people before the corporations. And at the end, if that's the case, right, speak out, right? Tell the truth, right? Don't be afraid to inform others, right? You're just doing the world a a favor. That's all.
right, right, yeah. I mean, especially when there's so much evidence against Tico. I mean, if it was a situation where people actually had these things and they were working perfectly fine, and then someone comes in and says they've burnt down 100 houses, and they provide no proof, then okay, that's slander. But this is a situation where people can look at the very little data that Tico gave out and say, hey, something's not quite right here. And then they're like, no, you're dumb. And you can't do that, especially with the 3D printing community, because it's a way different community than most. It's very tied together.
It's you know what, for people out there who will listen to this in the future, I don't want to be I'm on a price fanboy, but again, it's the value for money. You can't beat that printer. And if you go on their Facebook community, right, you ask one question and you will receive 10 responses within the next 20 minutes. It is one of the healthiest, I guess, new start communities I've seen in a long time. And it's just hard to beat, right? It's like you said, they're coming out with the Delta for 149. I believe the print volume is just slightly smaller than the Tico, so it's hard to beat that, right? It's got to wait for, like, I think another 2 months, probably less than that,
Yeah, I think so.
and that's where you'll get your money where it's worth. And you know what? Monoprice has done very well with the warranties, which Tico apparently you have a 1 year warranty with Tico for parts, which that failed very quickly.
Yeah.
Um, with Monoprice, if there's a major issue, as if like there's an issue with the board, or if there's a major issue with the actual structure of it, they will ship you a new unit. End of story. With Tico, when you have your printer come and it's broken, right, like the main body, they just say sorry, it's not covered by the warranty. Suck it up.
Yeah,
And
and that's something that should be. I mean, it should be an all warranty or no warranty.
exactly, it's I don't know. I'm happy with where I'm at the moment. The journey was fun. I definitely hope it still goes on for a little bit longer,
Yeah,
just
I
for my
mean,
own kicks.
I think the
But
best thing to happen now would be a complete and utter meltdown of chaos and conundrum, and we find out all this crazy stuff that was happening or whatever. I mean, I'm surprised interns haven't come forward, or I mean, I think there's been some, but no like actual proof that they were interns. But I think that would be fun to see.
um, to add to that, if I know it sounds kind of retarded, but think about starting up a petition, obviously an anonymous one, and just see how many people, right, will gather together to like to do what's right. And at the end of the day, right, it's like most people just don't speak out simply because they're too busy with their day to day life. But you need to speak out and you need to, just make the world aware. And just a few more weeks, guys, and we can go back to living our lives.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I I've been done with the thing a week after I got it, and before that, obviously you can tell from my videos, um, I was taking them for their word. I was being very optimistic. I wanted to trust these people, but then all of a sudden they're posting on a Kickstarter comment, not even a official update or email or something that, oh no, we have financial problems, and not even like a very like, I don't know, just the way they did it is what kind of irked me. And then they were like, oh, and then we'll do an official update today, and then it never came.
I think it was supposed to be what, noon today.
Yeah,
So
they
much
said
for
this
that, right?
afternoon. And then again, they have my email, they have my phone number. They've
Well,
texted me before, they've called me before, they've contacted me on Facebook before. And, when they're called to the carpet, they are nowhere to be found.
have they ever? Because this is your first time speaking out against Tico, right?
Right.
All right, but I have heard in the past that other backers have also been, silenced and asked not to speak out against them. So just be aware that call is probably going to come your way, right?
If if they call, I'll record it. If they text or send any sort of text-based thing, I'll make a video about it because I think that's hilarious.
Good man, good
And
man.
I thought Jatman was gonna do that. I don't know if you seen. I'm sure you've seen his video, because he got his preview unit, and then basically ripped him a new one, and then they kind of just, whoa no, which they should have expected because just seeing some of his videos, he's got a lot of 3D printer experience. I mean, he's got a ton of 3D printers in that room that he films in. So what did they expect?
Don't forget that Tico did call him. I forgot the term that they used, but they basically said that fuck all about my unit. And I'm sorry, but somebody like Jatman, I believe his name's Dustin.
Yeah, I think so.
Very, very bright gentleman,
Yeah.
and I'm happy to actually be one of his followers. But again, he did what was right, and I respect that. And I just wish there's more people like that out in this world that care about the community, right? That there's more to this world than just profit.
Yeah, and I have to say, when that video first came out, at first I thought, oh man, he's really jumping the gun because he had just got it. But then when you look into who he is and what he's done in his past videos, it's like, oh no, for someone like him, it takes that little amount of time for him to know this is a bad product.
Well, again, I forgot how many days he had it, but you don't need more than a couple of days of continuous testing to know. Right?
Yeah,
exactly
I think he
like
had
you
it
said,
for a
like,
weekend, and then he made that video. And then Maker's Muse, who's even bigger, won't even touch it.
Well, it would be interesting to see what what other streamers think about this product, right?
Yeah.
So it's question for you: do you still have that troll 3D printed logo?
I wish I did. I don't.
Damn it!
I don't. But that was the best. I loved making that. And the fact that it didn't turn out made it even better.
Remember that you were supposed to sell me that?
Oh yeah, that's right. I'll send you the STL. You can just print it out or whatever, the files.
But there's no fun printing out like a quality troll face.
a quality Tico troll.
Like the point was it was supposed to come off the Tico, right? And that's why I wanted.
I mean, now I don't think it's gonna print now. Oh no. I guess I could force feed it because if I push on the extruder, it'll print. So, but I tried to take the extruder apart, and the screws like on the top metal piece, so like the plastic piece comes off, but then the actual metal piece that's on the top cover, the screws on it came stripped.
it's one thing to at least note out to the public. Made in China does not mean it's poor quality, right? China
Yeah.
is just a massive platform where a lot of products are made. The quality is determined, based on the client, right? And at the end of the day, there is no fault, right? It's not the filament, it's not the crappy, build. It is the project management, right, and the overall team,
Yeah,
right? That's the product.
what you accept from your suppliers, um, that's up to you because a supplier is only going to be as good as what you pressure them to be. What standards
Well,
do you set?
it's a pressure, but it's what you request,
Yeah.
right? You receive what you request. So I believe I heard this from a word of mouth. Somebody else knew these individuals, and when they first sent out their product to be prototyped, they received it from the manufacturer, and they were unpleased with the build quality. At the end of the day, they never submitted a tech spec, a technical specification to identify what they actually want to be built. So it just shows the lack of uneducation, lack of experience, and no amount of money, right, and no amount of time at this point can ever fix that.
Right. And I don't know why they didn't look at standard motors that are out there for DIY 3D printers. I never understood that.
Because they want to be innovative. That's right. Like they want to be, they want to redesign everything.
Yeah,
Like
they
they want
wanted
to
to
do what
be the
nobody else has
Apple.
ever done.
They wanted to be the Apple of the 3D printing world, but that had already been done. That's MakerBot, and look where that got them.
Exactly. Exactly. One question to you is,
Yeah.
do you have anything good to say about the unit?
I
What
like.
would the highlights be besides it being like a nice plant pot or a nice table lamp? Like I'm just curious because I would love to receive a unit, right? Just to display to myself as this is what you're never supposed to do as an engineer,
Yeah, I mean
right?
it is a trophy for me at this point now. Um, as an example of what not to do. And I hope at some point I can modify it and get it working again. But I honestly, I think the design and the overall look. I mean, when you see this thing, this big white, all-in-one piece thing sitting in a room with its lights on, it's an impressive thing. You think, wow, that's a feat of decent design and engineering, and then you use it and you're like, that's a piece of snake oil.
You said that you would want to potentially get it working again. I can put you in contact with an individual that basically is that has received his unit and is modifying it to the best quality that you can get from it.
Okay.
And he's not doing it as a resale thing. He's doing it more for his own understanding and his own practice. So
Right.
I bet you can definitely gain a lot from him.
Yeah, I mean, just I think just as long as I can get the extruder motor working again, from there, it'd be fine. I mean, I'd probably never use it. I'd probably be, if someone came over to the house and was like, "What's that? What can it do?" and then just use it. But I mean, once I get the ANET A8, that's the only thing that I'm tinkering with at that point.
Beautiful. Do you have any other questions for me? Because I need to get going on a few other projects.
I don't think so. I think that was pretty informative. I think everybody, I think it was very interesting to hear. So thank you for coming in.
Thank you for your time. And you know what? Just do your own research. Take off your rose-colored glasses, and just stay educated. That's the last words of advice I you can give.
All right. Well, thank you.
Take care.
You too. All right. Well, that was interesting. I want to thank him for coming. Um. So yeah, I mean that was a lot of information there that from somewhat of an inside source. Trust him more than I do Tiko. So, and he's not even, he didn't even present anything that Tiko could have been presented. So, yeah, I think that was a lot of good information there, a lot of good stuff. The 3D printing world is a community, and it's one that stays together quite a bit, and it's very helpful. Uh, you kind of see that in the Tiko community, but since it's such a terrible device to work with and a lot of proprietary stuff, it's hard to be as helpful as other things. The Monoprice Facebook group, like he said, is a great place to learn about the Monoprice. I just joined the ANA A8 Facebook group, and they've let me in, and I haven't even got that 3D printer yet. So if this is your first 3D printer, don't let this be discouraging to you. Go out and get the Monoprice Mini the next time you have enough money. Go out and buy an ANA A8 if you want. If you want to get into like the nitty gritty and the trenches of 3D printing and really learn how to build a 3D printer and how to modify a 3D printer and all the stuff that goes into 3D printing. Don't be discouraged by this experience. There's better stuff out there. So if anybody else wants to come into the chat, I'll do one more person. He had a lot of information. I really enjoyed that. But if there's anybody else that wants to speak, please come into the Discord channel. I'll repost the link in the description into the chat here. And then just join the voice chat and we can have one more discussion, I think. If no one wants to do it, then that's fine. But I think it'd be fun to hear from one more person about their experience from Tiko. And then I'd say we can call this done and fried, and pretty much ruined all of my chances of being hired by Tiko. I mean, I think that's everybody's backer's dream, right? Is to be hired by Tiko and to work for them and their lovely Canadian company. But I would stay here. I would stay in the States. I'd have to work remote. But yeah, so if anybody wants to come into the channel, please do. I want to hear from you. And see what's going on. Any theories about the announcement? Not good. I think they're gonna deem bankruptcy. That's what I think. I think that's how they're going to save. I think they're going to be like, oh no, we can't, we haven't paid people. We have, we'd have let people go. Oh no, bankruptcy, everything's forgiven, right? I think, that's basically how every company does it. They either get bought out or they deem bankruptcy, which I hope it's the buyout. I hope that they do the buyout route, because again, the machine looks nice. It's the internals that are bad. And maybe a year from now, 2 years from now, the shape of the printer can be kept, but the innards changed out for better quality stuff. It maybe stay the same price or cheaper. Who knows? 2 years from now, who knows what's going on in the 3D printing space. But who knows? But yeah, some comparing this to the Peachy printer. Let's hope not. It's a situation like that, because didn't that guy buy a house or something with the Kickstarter money and didn't really do a good job of separating funds? So yeah, that's not good practices at all on that one. So it looks like no one else wants to come forward and talk. And that's okay. I'm fine with that. Nobody needs to be pressured into something that they don't want to do. But if you haven't yet, join the Facebook group. It's a fun group. A lot of good people there. Recommendations on purchasing a 3D printer. Buy the Monoprice Mini. Uh, this print doesn't look that good, and I can tell you why, but I printed this with the monoprice. The reason being is that this face mask, as you can see, I had to print it in 4 sections. This badness to it is my fault. Other than that, it's pretty good. It fits me. It was a fun adventure. I had to, again, go in and edit everything and get it down to the right size that it would print at, and then basically I use a soldering iron to melt it all together, and that's why it has the bad seams. There's better ways to do that, but yeah. Monoprice Delta in the summer, yes. If it's as good as the Monoprice Mini Select, which I think the Monoprice Mini Select took a little while to be good, as good as it is now, but it got there fairly quickly. But yeah, I would definitely get the Monoprice Delta. I plan on getting the Delta for sure. The Facebook group is called Tiko 3D Printer Users Group. Let me see if I can share the link to that. And it doesn't look like I can't. But if you search Tiko 3D Printer User Group, that's the group that I'm in. I don't know. I didn't know if there is another one, but I definitely would to join that. If you have a Monoprice Mini, join that one. I haven't even done that. I didn't know it exists. I should have looked. I should have known. There's Facebook groups for everything nowadays. But anything to take from this, don't be discouraged from this experience. 3D printing is getting better. It's getting more consumer friendly, but it's also very in depth, and you can learn a lot about engineering, a lot about everything. So yeah, give it another shot. Get the monoprice. If you want a plug and play, because I mean that's literally what it is. If you know how to use Cura, it's plug and play. If you want something more challenging for a similar price, ANA A8. If you really want to tinker and change stuff on a 3D printer. As far as going from the Mini to the other ones, I have no idea. I think it's just print bed size and some other stuff. But I would wait for the summer to buy, because they're actually redesigning the Monoprice Mini and all the other ones. The Monoprice Mini Select is actually getting updates that the community has suggested. A new knob, different stuff on there. I don't know all the details, but I know it's changing. It's also turning black instead of white. So I think it'd be fun. Yeah, the ANET A8 is technically a Prusa clone. But the reason that the ANET A8 is so popular is because it just has such a deep following. Not sure why. I know the Reddit 3D printing subreddit doesn't like the ANET. But there are a lot of people that do. It's not bad. I'll do a build video of it when I get it. The ANET A8 you have to do a lot of modifications. If you want that same printer out of the box, well, you have to build it. Then go with the actual Prusa. But since the Prusa is open source, then the ANET A8 can exist. But anyway, I think that's going to be it. I hope Tiko comes forward. I hope they will let me do an interview with them. I hope that they don't file bankruptcy. I hope they go and find a buyout. I think that would be the best situation. They probably will not find someone to buy them out unless they're completely crazy and just want, I don't know what they have. But I think that would be fun to see. Again, a complete and total catastrophe meltdown would also be fun to see, but I don't wish that upon them. I wish them the best. I hope that they can recover from this. It doesn't look like they can. It looks like their pride has gotten in the way majorly. It was fun while it lasted. Again, it's a nice trophy for me. If I can get it to work again someday or get the parts for it someday, great. If not, I guess I got my money. I got the product. I got my money's worth, I guess. I don't know. Who knows? But yeah, thank you for watching. This will probably be the last Tiko update video for me. Unless I do get that interview. I doubt it after this. But you never know. You never know. They may swallow their pride and actually come on and allow me to interview them, do a Skype interview or, something like that. I want with them, I want to see their face. I want to see their face. I want you to see their face because if they're lying, you'll be able to tell. I'll be able to tell, and we can kind of pressure them into being open, more honest. There's nothing at this point because before they released it, they were like, well, there's proprietary stuff that we don't want people to reverse engineer. Well, now it's in people's hands and they can reverse engineer it. So that fear is done over with now. So everything should be on the table. I want answers to questions. Even the most simple one. Did the prototype print the engine? And if the answer is no, fine. Fine. I'll accept it now. I just want it to be honest. So if I do get an interview, you'll know about it. But thank you for watching these Tiko updates. Thanks for being on this journey. And again, don't be discouraged by this experience. Go, if you haven't gotten the product yet, if you can, get the refund. If not, save your money. Get the Monoprice Mini. I'll join you with that. It's a fun device. And yeah, thank you for watching and have a good evening or morning, depending on where you are. It's nighttime for me. So yeah, it's been fun getting to know all these people. So that's it. See ya.